Hey, another update. My energy today was like a 1 out of 10. Like body fatigue, I guess. Um, I'm more like a 3 now. I did a few hours of Tai Chi, but I'm definitely leaning back, sipping some tea, trying to avert the wave of nausea. But anyway, I guess schedule-wise, I've committed or planned or been expected to post another update. So I guess I just kind of start with the calendar here. It's the 28th of November today, Monday. The 23rd, so 5 days ago, I went in for my second round of chemotherapy infusion in North Haven. Brought Cleffer Bear and Barely Bear and Barely's Bear with me. Nobody yelled stat, or there's no ambulances. Nobody yelled he's coding. So I guess that all went well. I spent the time updating my notes and information and understanding and monitoring my course of treatment and effects or lack of effects that I could notice. So that was the 23rd, Wednesday. That means the 25th, I went to get disconnected. So after the treatment, then they hooked me up to get 46 hours, basically 2 days of continuous IV pump treatment, what they call a CAD, cassette, CADD, or CAD pump or whatever. And that seems to be that medicine seems to be the toughest one on me in terms of side effects. I haven't figured out if they just slowly accumulate over the months or they sort of accumulate through the week or weeks, and but I've been assiduously monitoring my effects. So it felt like the rash that I have from EGFR, which I think is from that drug, but I'm not entirely clear on all this. I just think I think that was resolving itself. Like I had a lot of flaking skin and no new acne, and maybe a bit less reddening, but I'm not sure about that. As I approached my second infusion treatment last Wednesday. And then, as expected, it feels like it's returning, like a little bit more red, a little bit more acne, a little bit more density of acne, a little bit more spread, which has been largely my upper torso, face and head. And I probably mentioned that in another update. I don't remember. That's my leg there. And they wanted me to put on the steroid cream for that more often, more regularly. I've been pretty conservative or hesitant or resistant to applying it as often as I might. But when I went in Wednesday morning to get my treatment, they take my blood, and then you see the actual doctor and staff and researchers, a bunch of clinical research, I don't know, fellows, nurses, people that are involved, and they assess me, do an intake exam, and they were looking at my acne, and they were like, I think that is a scale of 1 to 4. I don't know if it's like a burn scale or whatever, but they couldn't even quite remember how the scale worked. They were going to look it up and assign me, I guess, a number or a rating. But anyway, they kind of felt like I was, I think, on the border. They thought that I was on the border between two different numbers, and that perhaps I might be, getting closer to a number where they withhold the treatment or delay it or something, or change it. I'm not quite sure, but basically, I might not have gotten the treatment that I would get today. And she did seem to suggest, I think she said, the medical oncologist, Dr. Stein, at one point that, she looked happy that I had the acne, meaning like it's having the effect in me that they would expect, without the imaging that would confirm it or the surgery that would confirm it. She was also like, oh, it's kind of bad, but it's also kind of what we expect. And my understanding was that if it's much worse or any worse or somewhat worse, I don't know how much worse, but somewhat worse, they might withhold or delay or vary the treatment, which I think I wouldn't want. And I also got the sense, I think she said that, the acne will only get worse, or the rash, the hyperpigmentation, the rash will only get worse. I don't know if she meant just, each of the highs or, of the rash through the treatments will be a higher high, a worse, or if she meant just kind of as I go through the whole thing, I'm not quite sure. So that kind of gave me the idea, I might be at the edge of where they won't give me the treatment I'm here for today, or the full treatment, or the same treatment, or it'll happen today, or whatever. And I'm up for it. I want to do this. I'm here. I'm emotionally, psychologically, physically ready. I'm mentally ready. I'm here. Let's do it. And her saying it's what she wanted, it's what she expected. She kind of seemed delighted by it, which it looked like she tried to hide, to be not to be excited by my side effect, So that gave me confidence, that she didn't intend to convey. But also, it felt like I might be a little bit on, the wrong end of the spectrum for what they'd accept. And she said that she wanted me to put this stuff on, as prescribed, as often as I can, even though I heard you don't want to apply it for more than 2 weeks and you only want to do the very least you can do. So I had just been putting it on, and in fact I still have been, and just in minimal areas, like my nose for sure is really bad. And twice a week here, but I'm not reading the prescription now. I don't know if it's twice a day or what it is, but I've only done it once a day. And I've been just treating it antiseptically so that it doesn't become an infection vector, So anyway, in the office, I tried my best push hands to get them to agree to give me the treatment that I was there for, instead of maybe back off in some way because of the rash. And I feel like I was just successful because the people in the room looked like they were leaning towards, let's delay it today or hesitate or vary it today, or lessen it in some way. And anyway, I ultimately got the treatment. I feel like it's in part because I did the push hands verbally with them, and in fact was ready to do it. But it also made me think I better commit to doing it's a steroidal cream, more regularly. Anyway, so that's where I am on that. I also tried to get clarity on the antibiotic, which they also want me to take for the same thing. I've gotten varying kind of advice on it, and I've also gotten a lack of advice where I specifically asked a few times. So at some point they had hinted that we might up you to 2 doses a day, which I think is 100 milligrams each. I think that's what the dosage is. But the dose has only been 1, and I've been doing that. Since I have it in my notes, so I can tell you what was the date in question, the 23rd. This is not scripted, so it's going to take the time it takes, and I'm sorry. Let's see if I wrote it here in doxy terms. Yeah, so 11/9 is when I first took a dose of the antibiotic. The last few days I've had this kind of GERD kind of thing going on, which is what I'm currently feeling right now. So on Monday I took two. So it looks like Monday, the 28th, was the first time I took two a day. It's every 12 hours. I've done that every day since. And what did I say? Monday's the 28th. And then today, I don't know, that doesn't make sense. That feels like I've just told you the wrong information. Could have been Wednesday. So I'm charting all my medicines here really carefully. So it looks like Tuesday. Yeah, sorry about that. It looks like Tuesday, the 21st, was my first double doxy dose, my first antibiotic dose. Doxycycline, Hyclate, I think. And just today I finally got a message back, and I didn't reply yet, from the nurse saying, we just want to make sure you're doing the doxy twice a day. You're doing the antibiotic twice a day. And I was like, I've been asking if I should do two, because I heard you mention it a long time ago. I've asked three or four different people, 3 or 4 different times, in 3 or 4 different manners, in person, by message, etc. Phone call, and I haven't gotten an answer. So anyway, that feels good that I started doing it, and now they're saying, we want to make sure you're doing it. I think yesterday I logged my highest number of medicines in a day since, I guess, my whole life, but 4. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8 different doses of medicine yesterday, all different times a day. I'm tracking them all. So I guess I'm officially old. So I got disconnected Friday. Didn't have any real troubles teaching with it or sleeping with it, which is really nice. I imagine both of those could be really difficult. Didn't have any infections or problems with the machine, so that's nice. And now I think that I just wait until my next appointment, which should be 2 weeks from my last one, which I guess that makes the 7th of December, I guess. To go on Wednesday again. So what else? So when I go in Friday, they give me a shot, which I guess is, it's not IM, so is it, it's transdermal, it's not IM, so it's, so I don't know what they call it, subcutaneous, I don't know. Here in the Delft for, it's called Udenyca. It's to boost your immune system in the marrow, so I guess the T cells. It's interesting how it's made. It's kind of interesting to read about. And I remember what she gave to me. She said, you would have wanted to take the Claritin starting this morning for this. And I was like, Claritin? What do you mean? Well, that's the thing that helps the side effect of this, like kind of as she's, putting alcohol on my arm. So what's the side effect? She just looked at me. She goes, bone pain. I was like, I think that must be the worst thing that could happen. I don't know if I have the capacity to imagine what bone pain is. So I left and got Claritin on the way home in the car. That first time. This time I knew to have it, and I knew to take it the morning of. And I was better at putting on the stuff the morning Wednesday of the infusion. You do this preparatory thing. I don't know if you can see, but that's where the medicine goes in. You could probably see the acne all over me too, actually. I've been trying to be really good not to pick or play with the acne at all. Just leave it be. Just treat it antiseptically. Try and keep it clean. But anyway, I took the Claritin and I said to her, I remember to take the Claritin. And luckily I haven't had any bone pain. Don't know if they're related, but thank you. And she goes, yeah, you can actually start taking the Claritin the day before today. Again, as she's putting the needle in. And I was like, I'm trying really hard to get these notes accurate. And I will do that next time. That's my plan. But still, as the needle's going in, she's like, yeah, you could have started taking this yesterday. That's better. Anyway, take the Claritin, I think, for 3 days. Or anyway, she originally said for 3 days after the shot. So now if I take it the day before, does that mean 5 total days? I don't know. But I think I'm not taking it today. It's Monday, at any rate. I'm not too sure. Some disclarity there. So I guess I should just say thank you to everybody for supporting us. Thank you for becoming a Patreon member, where I can actually earn some money for the bit of teaching I am able to do. And you can join Patreon for pretty much whatever rate you want. $7 a month, $91 a month, $8 a week, $2 a month, $165 a month, whatever, pick a number. I updated the tiers there recently, so there might be a little bit more details and options. A bunch of people have come through and brought lasagna. A whole bunch of people have brought soup. People have brought eggs. People have brought a variety of little sort of grocery items. That's been really nice. The lasagna was so good. Just a really simple meat lasagna, nothing fancy, just meat and cheese and sauce and pasta. Oh my God, it was so good. And a bunch of people have brought soup. Eddie and Chicky brought me some turkey yesterday. And people brought me coffee. I think, so I've been fighting the nausea a little bit. I don't think it's been as bad as it has been. So the last couple of days I stopped having coffee because I kind of had this aversion to coffee, which kind of felt like nausea or nauseatedness, and I don't know if they're related or not. So I don't know if that'll continue or not. One of the reasons I'm so weak, and you guys can end the video here if you don't want more details that are not pleasant, but the last few days have been exceedingly tough in terms of bowel movements. You may remember it's a colon cancer. Very early on, I was told by the colorectal surgeon, here's the plan. I'm going to refer you to this doctor, get the scan, see about scheduling that scan, talk to my tumor review board, get you started on this medicine, orchestrating this whole plan. And then we're going to hear what everybody thinks, but most likely you'll end up having surgery, and we'll see if that's included with chemotherapy or radiation or I don't know, whatever. But he kind of sketched out the likeliest plan. And I was like, oh, that's good. It felt good to have somebody kind of have been down this path, know what to do, sketch it out for me, but also not promise. Just here's the expectation, and we're going to let this doctor review your case and get their tests and see what they say and weigh in, and together we'll develop a plan. Which is very comforting, really. It's nice to be in the presence of professionals, and it's certainly nice to be in the care of professionals. Hopefully you feel that way, when I'm teaching. But he did say, kind of at the end of that and any questions I had, he said, now, if you become constipated, all bets are off. You're going to the hospital, you're getting surgery then. So all of this plan that we've laid out is all assuming this goes well, and probably assuming a whole bunch of other things don't randomly go wrong, I don't have a heart attack or something, but just assuming everything else is fine. If you get constipated, that is going to be, and he sort of described what it would be like. He's like, that's when you go to the emergency room. And I assume that means whatever surgeon's around does whatever surgery they can do to get me through it and maybe try and deal with the cancer while they're in there. I don't really know. But it won't be the nice orchestrated plan that's done at a certain pace with all the right testing and the team on board. More of an emergency. So since early on, I've had this really strong sense of, okay, that sounds really important not to get constipated. And I haven't been constipated. And like every day, I read, through the side effects, which I have written down on, is this it? Like may cause headache is on this one, or drowsy or dizzy, don't operate machines, that sort of thing. And, constipation is on one of them. And I'm thinking, I've never been constipated in my life, so I'm only just intuiting or trying to empathetically understand what it's like, but I don't actually know what it's like. So that feels nice. And I haven't been getting constipated through this whole thing. So that feels nice. One of the medicines I take is a stool softener every day. And in fact, I have it in my coffee. It's like a powder. And that's one of the things I've been having my coffee. And now I've, the last 3 days, been switching to, okay, so maybe I don't have it in coffee, so how do I have it? And anyway, one of the things, the medicine I just actually took out of my pocket, which is prochlorperazine maleate, which I think is also called Compazine, the brand name Compazine, spelled just the way it sounds, I think, is for nausea, I think nausea and vomiting. So you sort of take it if you're feeling like that's coming on. So it's to suppress that. If you are vomiting, then you take this other medicine, which I haven't had to take yet, but I have it. And this one I think says take up to 4 times a day every 6 hours, I think is what it is. And that to me sounds like 4 pills a day, and you run through it. I've never taken more than 1 pill a day. So that feels like I'm not doing too bad in terms of how much nausea somebody could be going through. So I don't know if that sort of oncoming wave that happens that occasionally makes me want to take one is actually affected by the medicine, or it just would have passed anyway. But either way, happy to assign it to the medicine. But that medicine, I think, is the one that says may cause constipation, which always kind of makes me think, oh no. And the nurse had said, you don't want to wait to take this, because she specifically said you don't want to get behind. If you feel you need it, take it. You don't want to feel like I've needed it all morning, now I'm taking it, and you're trying to catch it up. So you don't want to get behind. So that seemed really important. But then, to me, the really most important thing of the whole thing has been, if you get constipated, forget all of these plans and all of your, it's all over. So, and they also said, by the way, when I was at the doctor's on Wednesday, or maybe Thursday by message from the doctor after the visit, but right in there during the doctor's visit period, they said, we think you can stop taking that stool softener every day. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I haven't stopped taking it, and I'll tell you why. But they said, we think you can. So one, I was like, well, you weren't who prescribed it. So I think I want to run that by that person. But maybe that's me being ridiculous, and that's not how you should behave with doctors. But I'm like, do you know you didn't prescribe it to me? Or is it okay that I'm just not sure how it works? Anyway, getting to the telling you why. Trying to. I know this is very lengthy because it's me not having everything clear. So last week, I was having almost diarrhea a few days, I think, kind of leading up to me going into my second chemo treatment. So the 17th, it feels like the 17th, the 18th, the 19th, the 20th, okay, was like almost diarrhea, So I stopped taking the stool softener and started taking Imodium. And I confirmed that with the doctor. That's the right thing to do, because they hadn't told me to stop taking the stool softener. So I think the first day I took both, let them do battle, I guess. And even had like a brief moment of vomit, like barely needing to mention on the 21st in the evening. So then, I was back to normal in terms of BM on the 22nd. So I didn't take the stool softener or the Imodium. And then the 23rd is when I got hooked up. Had more issues with that, different issues this time, which I haven't shared yet, I guess, because I'm all over the place. 24th. So on the 25th, which is Friday, so I guess that's Sunday, I had no bowel movements, which I don't think I've ever had in my life, 0 in a day. So now I'm thinking, this is probably really bad, There's so many notes on that, sorry. So no bowel movements. The next day, same thing, no bowel movements. At this point, I had gotten the message from the doctor of what I should take, something called Senna, which is OTC, as well as the stool softener. So I did that. And then the 26th, which who knows what that day is, Saturday, still no BMs all day. So there's that 3 days. And it's really painful and really worrisome, because I'm really thinking I'm going to the hospital tonight and they're going to cut me open. And that's just how it's going. So I changed the dosages and so forth through this, and tried to higher doses and whatever. But anyway, eventually at 8:15, if you or no, 12:30 noon, 12:30 p.m. on the 26th, I finally had a normal BM, difficult but normal. So anyway, that was to me like about the most worrisome period through this whole thing. And it's been normal since, or a little bit, not much detail, but loose in the BM category, but regular, I guess. And anyway, not worried. So anyway, I'm doing the Miralax, even though the doctor said we think you can stop, because my fear of the BM is way greater than my fear of the constipation is way greater than diarrhea. So anyway, I've had diarrhea over this whole weekend, I guess. Yesterday, the day before, all day, no real urgency. So I've been trying to stay hydrated. But I think the reason that I'm so low energy is that. I think that's why. And I can respect that. And I still prefer this. And I'll share all this with the doctor when I next talk. Like, I'm not going to hide it or anything. I'd like to strictly follow what they're doing, but I'm also more interested in wisdom than information. So if this is wisdom, and then I'm doing the right thing. It doesn't have to be easy. It doesn't have to be a perfect answer, but it seems sensible, and I feel rational enough to be led by senses. Anyway, the other thing that happened, they told me about this, and it didn't happen the first round, is they said you could have cold sensitivity. And I noticed, I probably mentioned this in the thing, that I had some sort of loss of thermostat. It's hard to judge the temperatures. This time I definitely noticed there was cold sensitivity, where I got really pins and needles in my fingertips. I didn't notice in my toes. Really pins and needly, not in my nose, but in my fingertips. Where just like touching anything was very odd, troubling, kind of hard to do. But not really pain, more curious. I'm certainly it could be worrisome. But then, and this is the really challenging part, it's like sipping something cold made it feel like a bunch of sharp shards of ice cutting my lips and then tongue and then throat, mouth, but you feel on the lips and then the tongue. I don't know, is that true about the tongue? Definitely the lips and the throat. I'm trying to think about how it is in the mouth. I have to return to that and see. But that's been really worrisome because I like to drink cold water. B, I like the house cool. And I feel like if my body's cool, then it registers or triggers. If I'm warm, it doesn't really happen. But if I introduce cold water, like to take all these medicines, then it's like a really painful experience in the throat, really painful. But to me, it's more of a mental exercise. Like, okay, well, it isn't that my throat's being cut. It's my body sort of getting a poorly informed about what's happening. So it's really just the message that's coming to me, not the actuality, which seems like a meditation kind of practice. But boy, it's not fun at all. So I've just like shifted water out of the fridge and into room temperature and trying to just sip warm electrolyte stuff, to keep, with the diarrhea, So that's been really troublesome and worrying, but not as bad as the constipation, and it's not as bad as it could be. But man, I thought the bone pain would be tough. That's a really tough thing and it surprised me too. Like I didn't know what was happening at first. And I don't know, again, is that it didn't happen the first time? Now that it's happened, is it 50-50 happens next time? Is it like, well, now it started happening, it's just going to happen every time? Or is it now that it started happening, it's just going to stay with me until the end of chemo? It's just how it is. Like, I don't know. I'm presuming it's going to stay with me so that I don't mistakenly drink water, and then it really shocked me. Anyway, there was more things, but that's it. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the GoFundMe, which is going to help me find a new home and pay these bills. And thanks also, a bunch of people come by to help bring things to the dump and take things and give things away and sell things and donate them and stuff. And got a whole bunch more of that stuff to do. So if you want to be involved, reach out to Darcy or Garrett, or like I have a chainsaw I want to give away. I have a whole bunch of tools to give away, and uniforms for a martial arts school to give away, a whole bunch of stuff like that should be like good working order or brand new, and it'd be nice. That should be the easier stuff to just pass on, but I don't want to be involved. I don't have the energy. I just want somebody to come and take it and do something healthful with it. Okay. So, Thank you for your donations. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the soup. Thank you for checking in. And again, I've barely responded to anybody with well wishes. I'm trying the best I can.
Love.
That's from Emily. Thank you.